the Madman.
Will this new card from neutral completely annihilate Lady Prestor decks, Kazaku-san decks, and Quest Priest all in one fell swoop in one cute little robot? Steamcleaner, 5-mana 5/5 mech, Battlecry, destroy all cards in both players' deck. That didn't start there. What does this innocent looking tech card mean? Well, Lady Prestor transforms all of your minions into dragons. Whoops, that doesn't belong in your deck. Whoop, 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 whoop. It's gone. Kazaku-san transforms all of your deck, well, gets rid of your deck and adds 10 treasures. Whoops, that's not supposed to be there. Whoop, 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 whoop. Quest Priest shuffles the win the game card into their deck. Whoops, that's not supposed to be in your deck. I guess we will steam clean it. So, Steamcleaner, it does it all. This card may be such a vicious tech card against some of the more popular decks being run right now that it might change the meta if enough people band together and decide that Steamcleaner is worth running in their deck, because they particularly hate the decks that I mentioned. But again, tech cards are difficult to actually justify putting in cards because sometimes you don't face off against those decks, and then you have a 5-mana 5/5. So you have to play a little bit of a deck research game, figure out what the meta is, figure out if cards that appear in players' decks that shouldn't belong there, if that's a good card to tech against. Party Crasher, 8-mana 7/9, Battlecry, choose an enemy minion, throw a random minion from your hand at it. That's a pretty cool card. The way to read this card is it's an 8-mana 7/9, which also summons another minion from your hand. So really good to have big minions in your hand. And that big minion gains rush and then attacks the minion that you're targeting. Potentially good enough in the Death Rattle Druid deck, which has big cards at the end with Death Rattle. Potentially, though, it just costs too much mana and is too redundant in terms of it's a big card and requires you also have a big card when you could just play the other big card instead. But yeah, this does introduce like an extra 7/9 in stats and gives your other card rush. And could even ramp you in the case that you're throwing a big, 9 cost or 10 cost. Murlocula! Bah-ha-ha-ha! 4-mana 3/4, lifesteal, infuse 4. This costs 0. And I will give a special shout out to the flavor text of this one. There's a lot of good flavor text on the cards, by the way, if you wanted to go to the website and look through them or browse the collection when it comes out. The best part of Murlocula is when he said, "It's Murglin time!" and totally Murgurgled those guys. But you know what? Past that excellent flavor text might be an excellent card. As usual, any card that can cost 0 could be OP, and this card is no exception. Murlocula is a lot like a Feast or Famine corridor creeper. It doesn't get discounted by 1 at a time. You need to have 4 die and then it costs 0. And obviously 0-mana 3/4 is very good. I think that Murlocula will be good in decks that do have multiple minions die, either through summoning multiple minions in one card or through just having a lot of minions. I could see it in Warlock with Imps. I could see it in perhaps Hunter if they summon enough stuff. I could see it in essentially any deck that summons a bunch of stuff. This one's cool. Anonymous Informant. 2-mana 2/3, Battlecry, the next secret you play costs 0. This is like Kirin Tor Mage, except the secret discount carries over for the rest of the game. Wow. So Kirin Tor Mage, back in the day, you would just play it as a 3-mana 4/3 and not have a secret to play, and you'd be sad at the lost value. But this card, always a 2-mana 2/3. And will always discount a secret someday. So if the Mage secret deck has any potential, obviously you'll find this card in it. I think more reasonable of a deck that will see this is Rogue, whose cards look better. Sure, you get a 2-mana discount instead of 3-mana from Mage, but there's a lot of good Rogue synergy cards. Also, Rogues like playing a lot of cards on the same turn. Anonymous Informant will make your big pop-off turn bigger because you won't have to spend 2 mana on a secret. You can just spend 0 mana on a secret. Creepy Painting. 3 mana 0/6. After another minion dies, become a copy of it. It's a really interesting card, because you could actually just play this as a 3-mana 0/6 and it might survive. So you don't necessarily have to combo with it. But the combo is you play this, and on the turn you play it, you immediately kill one of the minions. Probably your opponent's minion, but you could even play the creepy painting and then trade your guy into their guy. And then it'll become a copy of one of them. In the case of a trade, it will copy the minion that entered play first. It's first in, first out for painting copying. But yeah, it's a faceless for 3 mana. That could certainly be very good for combo decks. It could just be very good for a value deck. Because 3 mana faceless is, copy your opponent's strongest minion right before you kill it. Seems good. Crooked Cook, 2 mana 1/4. At the end of your turn, if you dealt 3 or more damage to the enemy hero, draw a card. Great card for aggro, really good card for mega aggro, such as Demon Hunter. And you do have to remember, Demon Hunter got that 0 mana, deal 3 damage card. So you could play Crooked Cook, you could slap them for 3, draw your card immediately, or perhaps have a 1 mana card which already dealt a bunch of damage, and the next turn you're dealing 2 damage with the 1 mana card, another 1 damage with this, or maybe you're doing more damage to the face. Crooked Cook looks like a really good card for very aggressive decks. And oh no! Did the soup vendor die? Is this soup vendor? Oh no! Dinner Performer. 3 mana 2/3, Battle Cry. Summon a random minion from your deck that you can afford to play. If you just play this on 4 mana, you will pull 1 mana cards from your deck. So basically draw and play. Now obviously the card gets a lot better when you play it at a higher mana cost, because then you can get the higher cost cards from your deck. Note that it's a can, you don't necessarily guarantee it. So Dinner Performer strikes me as a card that could be a good card to specifically search out if your deck has very few low-cost minions. You could search out those low-cost minions and put them into play. Dredger Staff, 1 mana 1/2, Battlecry, give minions in your health. Battlecry, give minions in your hand, +1 health. Could see it in decks with lots of minions. It's hand buffy while also putting out a small guy on the board. Cute small card, can't really think of any decks that would really want this though. Invitation Courier, 3 mana 3/4. After a card is added to your hand from another class, copy it. Decks that immediately come to mind for this: Thief Rogue, popular deck that does add quite a number of cards from other classes. Do you want double copies? Seems good. Thief Priest. Thief Priest is running decent amount of mid-rangey things. You could find a 3 mana spot to play this on like turn 3, or to play it in concert with other cards later on. Can provide some decent card advantage. Could be quite good in a value or attrition type environment. And not even terrible otherwise, because it is still just the 3 mana 3/4. Masked Reveler. 6 mana 4/4 rush with Death Rattle, summon a 2/2 copy of another minion in your deck. Deck that this clearly fits in the most, and I think it is a good fit, is into Big Death Rattle Druid. It's a fairly big card, but most importantly, this is a card that is cheap enough that can cheat out copies of big cards in your deck, which usually will have Death Rattle, so that's a great card to have a 2/2 copy of a big Death Rattle. You can even use the Druid location to copy the Reveler if you want, to summon another 2/2 copy of another minion in your deck, which also will still have a big Death Rattle. So Masked Reveler might be the big payoff card for Death Rattle Druid. Comes out in the mid-game, does something fast, and also does something that can also do something potentially fast, or, yeah, I mean, a Death Rattle that's set to go off very shortly. Let me just jump right ahead to this card, which I previewed when I was talking about the Death Rattle Druid. Stoneborn General, the 10 mana 8/8 with Rush. This is the card that actually enables Death Rattle Druid the most, I'd say. Because the Death Rattle is summoned an 8/8 Gravewing with Rush. That's obviously a very big Death Rattle. Now this card also helps out Death Rattle Rogue by so much, because now, when you draw your 5 cards, you could get an 8/8 Gravewing with Rush. Muck Plumber, 5 mana 5/5, all minions cost 2 more. Interesting tech card if you face off against decks which run a lot of small minions, but maybe not, because if you play this while you're behind, they'll just trade into your Muck Plumber, and, you've played an inefficient 5/5/5. That's the main problem with a card like this. It just gets turned off when it dies. This is one of those tech cards that I don't see really seeing play. Unlike cards that actually hit spells, because if you're playing a minion-based deck, you can clear off the enemy minions and then play a minion that hits spells. And since they will find it difficult to use spells to kill your minion, they can only really use minions to kill your minion, but they don't have any minions in play. I don't find this very useful. Roosting Gargoyle. 2 mana 2/3, Battlecry, give a friendly beast +2 attack. Pretty efficient in terms of it's a 2 mana 4/3 if you hit a beast with it. I could potentially see Hunter maybe using this card because they are getting a lot of beasts with their wild seeds. They're all beasts. While the card looks very simple and like is something that could easily be passed on, don't sleep on the fact that it's a lot of stats for the cost. Secret Synergy card. Again, Scuttlebutt Ghoul, 4 mana 2/5 taunt. If you control a secret, summon a copy of this. So that is a good secret payoff. You're paying 4 mana for 4/10 for 2/2/5s with taunt. That protects you, that lets you get away with your long-term plans, which secret decks tend to be a little bit more long-term than just a pure face deck. It's good stats for the cost. I could see it in decks that ran secrets. It's a reasonable payoff card. There's a interesting neutral trio here where you use the Sketchy Stranger to discover a secret, potentially a mage 3-cost secret. Use the Anonymous Informant to make that secret cost 0, and then you play the secret and you play Scuttlebutt Ghoul on the same turn. It's a humble combo, but it is neutral and they all come from this particular set, and they all work together. Kind of nice. Sinstone Totem. 1 mana 0/3 totem. At the end of your turn, gain +1 health. We've seen a card similar to this before. It's Hot Air Balloon. So obviously the only deck that will actually consider this deck would be Totem Shaman. And Totem Shaman is nowhere near anywhere good right now. So Sinstone Totem looks like it's going to be sad. Last and a little bit least, you got Stoneborn Accuser. I guess the good thing I can say about this is it also has good flavor text. A lot of cards, again, have excellent flavor text. 5 mana 5/5, infuse 5, gain Battlecry, deal 5 damage. I saw them vent! I swear! The main problem with this card is the payoff for infusing 5, and infusing 5 is a pretty high amount, is you get a card that isn't that much better than just baseline. A 5 mana 5/5 Battlecry deal 5 is not that exciting. When you have to jump through the hoop of infusing a 5, then it's like, I'll pass. It's like, would a 5/5/5 deal 5 be played? Yes, but it's not even that overpowered. When you think Baba Naga, 4 mana 4/4 Battlecry deal 3, all you have to do is cast a spell and not really widely run. You can see that Stoneborn Accuser is not going to see play unless the infuse is ridiculously easy, but it'll never be that easy, and the top decking of this is quite bad. Okay, there you have the neutrals. We've seen it all! All the Murder at Nathria cards, and it's a cool set. Very flavorful, and pushes a lot of different archetypes that I'm looking forward to showing off in the Theorycraft stream. So make sure you stay tuned for that. After I get a little bit of time to experience all this stuff, I will, as always, be making a star rating for all of these cards.